Today I will be discussing how to write effective research questions and objectives. These two elements are fundamental to any research project because they provide direction, determine the methodology, and guide data collection and analysis. Without clear research questions and objectives, a study can easily become unfocused and difficult to complete. Every good research question begins with a research problem. Before writing any question, researchers must identify a gap in knowledge or an issue that has not been fully explained by previous studies. This requires reviewing existing literature and asking what remains unanswered, underexplored, or unclear. At the same time, researchers should define the context of the problem, including the population, setting, or industry being studied. Most importantly, the problem must be researchable, meaning that data can be collected and analyzed to address it. Once the problem has been identified, researchers can follow a simple four-step framework. A useful way to accomplish this is by following a four-step process. First, researchers must decide exactly what they want to know. Second, they develop one main research question. Third, they break that question into several sub-questions. Finally, they convert those questions into research objectives. This sequence is important because it creates alignment throughout the research project. The objectives should arise directly from the research questions, and the research questions should address the original problem. When these elements align properly, the study becomes coherent, systematic, and methodologically sound. The first step is deciding exactly what they want to know. This involves identifying the population, variables, and relationships of interest. Researchers should ask themselves who they are studying, what concepts they are examining, and how those concepts are related. The second step is writing one main research question. The main question serves as the foundation of the entire study and should be specific, focused, and answerable. For example, a study may ask, how do remote work policies affect employee well-being among university staff? This question clearly identifies the population, the topic, and the relationship being investigated. The third step is developing 2 to 4 sub-questions. Sub-questions break the main question into smaller and more manageable components. Each sub-question should address a different aspect of the problem. For example, one sub-question may investigate the relationship between remote work flexibility and well-being, while another examines whether workload influences that relationship. Together, the sub-questions provide a complete answer to the main research question. The fourth step is converting the research questions into objectives. Research questions describe what the researcher wants to know, whereas objectives describe what the researcher intends to do. This conversion is achieved by using action-oriented verbs. For example, a question about a relationship can become an objective to examine the relationship, while a question about a mediating effect can become an objective to assess the mediating role of a variable. Choosing the correct action verbs is extremely important. Vague verbs such as understand or look into should be avoided because they are difficult to measure. Instead, researchers should use precise verbs such as explore, investigate, examine, analyze, compare, assess, and determine. These verbs clearly communicate the purpose of the study and align with specific research methods. A complete research framework should demonstrate clear alignment. The research problem should lead to the main question should generate sub-questions, and each sub-question should correspond to a specific objective. This logical structure ensures that every component of the study works together. Researchers should also avoid several common mistakes. One mistake is writing questions that are too broad. For example, asking, what affects employee well-being is too general because many factors could be involved. Another mistake is creating objectives that do not match the research questions. Misalignment can weaken the credibility of the study. Researchers should also avoid unclear language and ensure that their chosen methods are suitable for answering their questions. In conclusion, strong research questions and objectives are essential for successful research. Researchers should begin with a clear problem, develop one focused main question, create a small number of meaningful sub-questions, and convert those questions into objectives using precise action verbs. Most importantly, they should ensure alignment between the problem, questions, objectives, and methodology. When these elements are connected, the research becomes more focused, rigorous, and capable of producing valuable findings.